Today is the memorial of St. John Chrysostom, doctor of the church and especially prominent in the Greek church. He was born in Syria around 347 and died in 407. Early in his religious life, he lived as an anchorite in the caves near Antioch. And later, albeit unwillingly it appears, he became Archbishop of Constantinople. In that capacity, he preached against the misuse of riches, which alienated both the rich and the powerful. As Archbishop, he cleaned house, reducing his own household's expenses, ending elegant and elaborate banquets, confirming monks to their monastery, and proceeding against clergy who had given scandal. We can understand how he was unloved by some. Known as a golden-mouthed for his superb oratory skills, he was applauded by the people in the churches when he preached. But he was sent into exile, having offended the empress and other powerful people. And he died on his way to exile to the eastern end of the Black Sea. Our gospel story today is that of the widow of Nain, a story found only in Luke and well worth contemplation, in my opinion. We see Jesus arriving with his disciples in a large crowd, and then a man being carried out for burial, accompanied by his mother, a widow, and another large crowd. What's striking about this story is that the mother says nothing, makes no petition, is silent. It's Jesus who takes the initiative, moved with pity, approaching her, saying, "Do not weep." He touches the coffin, stopping the bearers, and tells the young man, "I tell you, arise." And then he gives the young man to his mother. Here's a woman who has just lost everything, already a widow, and now without a son, and therefore without any means of support. In the culture of the time, destined to a life of poverty, without resources, with nobody to defend her. Yet she initiates no request. Why would that be, I wonder? Did she already accept the fact of being inconsequential now that her son was dead? Or was she totally lost in grief? What was she thinking? Or was she? Did she know who Jesus was? Or imagine what could happen? Surely she had to be aware of Jesus' proximity given the crowd with him. Yet, puzzlingly, she says nothing. And that's part of what makes this Lucan miracle story different from yesterday's gospel, in which the centurion initiates the request that Jesus save the life of his slave. Another piece of the story, which makes it different from yesterday, is that here the young man is actually dead. He's prepared for burial. And those present are seized by fear when they see him arise, exclaiming, "A great prophet has arisen in our midst. God has visited his people." And that is precisely Luke's point in telling this story. God has indeed come into their and into our midst, a prophet who heals. Parenthetically, we might wonder, heals whom? The young man, or the widow, or both? And what might be the implications of this story for us? I think at least two. First, we can take comfort in seeing yet again the Lord taking the initiative, reaching out, touching, compassionate. We might consider how this is the case in our own lives. God reaching out to us first. Do we recognize this in our life? And as we do, how do we respond? Secondly, we might ask ourselves what resemblance we might have, if any, with the widow. In the grand scheme of things as we see it, do we also see ourselves as insignificant, as she might have seen herself? Cogs in the wheels of government, politics, even religion and church, thinking our own experiences are not worthy of note? And if we are tempted to look at ourselves in this manner, does this then prevent us from taking the initiative with God in being clear about our own needs? Further, might we be hesitant with each other, slow to reach out to someone who we might think is suffering, in need, or simply alone? These thoughts bring me to today's first reading, in which Paul reminds the Corinthians they and we are each a part of Christ's body, each with our own gifts. We might want to consider today what those gifts are and how we can take the initiative, as Jesus did with the widow, to use these with and for others.